Come here, y'all talk education, but how y'all gonna merge the school and expect the children to learn when they're in a hostile environment because they gotta worry about people that's not from where they're from or they're in places where they're not from. So how can you expect them to learn like that? It's not gonna happen, and I'm gonna defer the rest of my time to Third Skip Lamont.
I want to stand and thank everybody that came out tonight. I'm sitting here observing the whole board, and I'm looking at Mr. Dunboard. You're breathing funny and you're not seem like you're feeling comfortable. And I want to be spiritual because I'm a child of God. And I see what's going on in the community. I grew up at 600 Whitney. The whole block, they have children dressed with corn uniforms on. I was a bandman at Landry. I encourage kids to play instruments. I'm a band teacher. And I said, why y'all didn't go to Landry? The mother said they could not get in Landry because they only accept 500 kids. That school was built to hold more than 500 kids. So that tells me that it was set up for the school to fail. Now, 3 weeks ago, a lady gave me a letter. I don't know who the attorney is. Zelda? You're Zelda? Xander. I haven't gave the letter to him about landmarking the school. And I'm calling around to find out about Lord Beaconsfield Landry. And some things I didn't know, but I did find out that Lord Beaconsfield Landry is a historian, and his father was a first black African male. And I talked to Miss Catherine in Donzeville, Louisiana. I'm going out there in 2 weeks to visit his home, his property. This man, my grandfather stayed on Air Mile. His mother was treated by Dr. Lord Beaconsfield Landry, and I just found this out. My grandfather went to 35. He refused me not to go to El Perry Walker. When I thought Landry was a violent school, I wanted to go to Walker. My mom and my grandfather made me go to Landry. I became a successful young man because I was family treated at that school. All my teachers loved me. I was a behavior student. Fight cuts and everything. My life has changed. I own a 501c nonprofit organization in Algiers. I want to say to the guy who owns Algiers Charter, I feel that I'm a nonprofit organization and you are a nonprofit organization. I don't know if you're 509 or 501c3. You all responsibility is to get your own building. Sir, if you don't have one. There are trailers that you can rent until you get a building. There are Murray Henderson School that is sitting there butt naked where you can use that building.
Please
and
wrap
to wrap it up, yeah, I'm about to wrap it up. Sir, I think you need to answer to God because these are children that's suffering. They got children smoking cigarettes, 14 and 12-year-old. My little niece at 14 years old, she got to go to a school where children talking about having sex, and we're trying to keep her in church. At LJ's Technology High School, they barely have a number of kids there. Then you want to change language to LJ's High School, you forgot they already had an LJ school. Blue and gold.
Good evening. My name is Brandon McIntyre. I'm a 2002 graduate of L.B. Landry High School. I grew up in the Fisher Project in Algiers, and my family has been Landry students for 3 generations. My mom went there. My mom has 9 sisters and brothers. They all went to Landry, and their children is over 80 of us, cousins. We all went to Landry, and the goal is for our family to continue going to Landry. After I left Landry, I attended Jackson State and Xavier Universities, and I'm a graduate of Xavier University as well. But the thing that you all are forgetting is about our legacy. I mean, when Landry children went to Walker after Katrina, we didn't come up and say, well, let's make this school Walker Landry. That never came across our minds because we were so busy fighting for our own school. We're not just going to lay back and let y'all do what y'all want to do. So I mean, if a fight is what y'all want, a fight is what y'all get. Thank you.
You came to Baton Rouge last time we had a meeting, and you probably remember that date better than I do. And I thought we were getting pretty close.
Me too. But I think we are.
You think we are?
I'm not sure.
Are you hearing this?
I think Ms. Jones gonna put a cap on it. So, you know, or either Mr. Morgan, I don't know. But let me just give y'all something.
No, I mean close to a resolution. I don't mean close to the end of comments. I mean close to this isn't an issue anymore. But I thought we were getting close.
Watch this. I did too, and I'm really not in command of it.
Madam Board Member, I'm not sure we are not close, but the public, since they're here, they had their views, and I think it was a good thing to hear what the community had to say because you all in Baton Rouge and they're here. But in terms of a resolution, I think that there have been communication between Skip and Board Member Jones, and I think at some point, since it's her district, she will let the community know how she feels, and then the board can look at it. I mean, we're not going backwards. This is just part of the democratic process. Because in the end, you need the same people who express their views to work with your department. You're the board, the department is under you. You need them, and I'm saying we can use this in a positive way in terms of academics. But there's a lot of anger, you see it, but it doesn't mean that we want to fight you forever. We want to come together, save Landry, and make it the strongest academic institution possible. That's what we want.
Can you understand how I would be really concerned, though, that at the last meeting, I left with the belief that we were getting close to a resolution, and then we come here tonight and we start back at square one. Can you understand why I would feel that way? Can you understand, sir?
I can understand, okay. But it's not as bad as you think, because we haven't heard from the board member.
Okay.
We don't know yet.
Well, I guess my concern would be, let's do this, because I'm with Holly. When we left Baton Rouge, we were under the impression that you guys were going to come together and come up with a conclusion.
We can't come with a conclusion without a vote of the BESE board.
Right. So
we need the board to stop it, because
okay,
the RSD is not going to stop
it. And I
it.
agree. So let's do this. This is Ms. Orange Jones' district.
Okay.
Let's hear from Ms. Orange Jones and see what's the solution is. And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
Excuse me. As a representative of the speakers, do you think the speakers would like to withdraw their cards and move forward?
Let's move forward, because we've had some time, but I think it's important to let the board know that we want to save Landry, and we will at some point work with them. So this is an example of wanting to work with you. We yield the time. Let's see what the board's going to do.
Let me say something. Right quickly. How can we have input when we have snakes that's going around us and not allowing us to do so? Now, I was at that meeting too. And I've made it a point to Adrian, try to reach this gentleman, Patrick, to have input. And like I said, when we go to a meeting, everything is already printed out. So how can we say that somebody allowed us to have input? Okay, am I correct?
Okay, Ms. Jones, did you want to hear from the principal?
Yeah, I did. I do want to hear from Adrian first, and then
Okay.
Thank you. Greetings. My name is Adrian Morgan. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Algiers Charter School Association. I'm here tonight to speak very much about the preparations that are being made for the first day of school for the students who will attend Landry Walker High School.
Wow. Excuse me. Let's hear what he has to say. Thank you.
ACSA was asked by the Recovery School District to take on the role of being able to successfully open the school in the fall of 2013. In order to accomplish that work, in the fall of 2012, we began to hold a series of meetings that would allow us to get input from alumni from Landry, alumni from Walker, other community members. Throughout that process, we certainly heard many comments that are similar to what we heard this evening, but from that, we were able to understand what was important to folks in terms of being able...
You can put us out if you're going to lie.
In terms of being able to create a positive experience for students in the school, and so that is where we have focused our energies. And so along those lines, we have worked to create a number of activities that have involved both the staff and the students at each school that have been occurring over the past several months. And at this point, I'd like to thank the staff of the RSD as well as the staff of LB Landry, who have been very helpful in terms of helping us continue this process over time. The key activities have been focused on, at the staff level, being able to introduce ourselves to the staff who are there, being able to have joint meetings between the leadership of Landry and the leadership of Walker, joint meetings between the department heads at Landry, the department heads of Walker. This past Friday, we had an end of the year celebration. We invited the Landry staff to join us, and they did, along with all the other schools that ACSA operates. And similarly, in terms of professional development activities, those have also been combined over the last couple of months in May, April, and March activities that we had for those schools. So a number of those activities have occurred along with the process of identifying staff members who will be at the school for next year. At this point, we're very close to finalizing our financials for next year, and assuming our enrollment holds, we're actually looking to move forward with a plan that will offer an opportunity for any staff member from Landry or Walker who would be interested to be employed at the school for the upcoming school year. So we've had a good number of support from the staff and a good number of enthusiasm in terms of the staff coming together and working together. In terms of the students, we have had a number of activities beginning with our football and athletics programs. We most recently had a football scrimmage that occurred on Friday involving students from Landry and Walker. We've had performances involving the choir programs, the jazz band programs. The bands have traveled together. This past Monday, a week ago, the gospel, jazz band, and marching band, and regular choir all performed joint performances that involved Landry students and Walker students. About 5 weeks ago, students from Landry and Walker traveled to Atlanta together to participate. 2 weeks ago, students in a dance program that involved Landry students and Walker students participated in activities together. And so we've had a number of activities that we have undertaken that have engaged the students, allowed the students to dialogue, as well as forums that have involved all the students. The students who may not be in extracurricular activities. We've had forums with 9th graders from Walker, 9th graders from Landry, 10th graders from Landry, 10th graders from Walker, and so on. So we have worked with the students in order to be able to identify the uniforms that incorporates the colors of both schools, work with students and staff in order to be able to identify colors that work for both schools, in order to be able to identify mascots that work for both schools, in order to be able to identify the crest that involves the legacy of both schools. And I'll conclude by saying, in terms of the facility and the program there, we have worked hard to really emphasize that this will be the LB Landry Educational Complex, and that the high school will be one of several programs that will be in this LB Landry complex. So in addition to the high school, we will also have the LSU Community Health Clinic, the RSD Family Health Resource Center, the Wadsworth Theater, and what's recently announced is the West Bank Evening Satellite Campus for Southern University in New Orleans. In addition to those programmatic developments that are happening at the school, facility improvements include work that we are doing to enhance and create a more aesthetically pleasing fencing that will go around the school. We're doing upgrades to the athletic fields that are at the school, upgrades to the Fox Playground, which is adjacent to the school, in order to try and create the most positive aesthetic and quality learning environment for students and staff at the school as well. At that point, I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
I have a couple follow-up questions.
Ms. Orange-Jones?
Just speaking to, clearly, and we've had these conversations, I've met, of course, with many members from the Landry community, met with the RSD for the last several months, have spent time trying to learn, because I'm late to this conversation, as many of us as a board are, this is something that has gone on way before our tenure. And this is a very, very important community issue, clearly there's unrest. What is your opinion about why there has still been so much community unrest, even though you're giving us positive support, about positive updates about what's happening in the actual building? Because I know there are things happening in the actual building. I appreciate your report. I'm trying to better understand the broader challenges outside of that.
I certainly don't intend to speak for anyone. All I will point to is the observation that the majority of comments that we all heard this evening were focused on the actual unification as to whether or not it should happen. That is not work that ACSA is engaged in. ACSA is engaged in creating a quality experience at the school for all of the students who will attend there.
Right.
I think there is another issue that is different than the issue of preparing for opening day.
Okay, well, my
Right.
question to you is, if the IGS charter is not a part of the unification, who engagement is it? If it's, your job is to actually just implement the plan, who's responsible for
It's ours.
creating the plan in reference to telling you what you need to do?
That would be us.
It's my understanding it's the BESE board.
It's ours.
Okay, so it's out. So as a board, this is my concern, Ms. Jones. I know this is your district. We as a board, when I just said here a few minutes ago, I said, Mr. Dobar, why can't we just stop doing it? He said, Ms. Hill, this has been going on for 2 years. 2 years ago, when it started, I wasn't a board member. So however, I think maybe we need to look into, as a board, we need to start where we are, allow the schools to continue as they are, and come as a board to get a better understanding, because most of us are new members. We're new members on the board. So just as well as I'm informed, I'm quite sure Ms. Jones is informed. All of this is new to us. So my concern would be, let's stop what we're doing until the board get a better understanding of what's trying to go on, and then we can move forward. And so I just think that's my concern as a board member. I don't want to continue to move forward, and I don't know what I'm moving forward on, and I don't have any idea. So that's my point.
There are two issues that I've observed that I want to speak to. One is the merger itself. The second is the legacy of the schools, which are very different. The legacy of Landry, which has been well documented today and spoken about with very much passion, and also I have observed just through my interactions with many of the Landry community, is its own distinct legacy. That is I have learned that, I have been told that over and over again. I honor that. It is true that there's a legacy of a community and a school that has been there for years and years that means something to the community. I want to know a bit more about the name and the importance of the name and the legacy, because that has been something that the conversation that I know, again, Ms. Hill, you've said has evolved way before us, but this is something that has been very important to the Landry community. I want to know, and I want to know also, my understanding is you may have to put forward a material amendment actually to the BESE board requesting the actual formal name of this campus is going to come to us. I want to know more about how that process has gone so far, and if you are planning to put forward to this board the material amendment for the actual name of this campus, of this school soon.
Oh, go ahead, take the lead.
No, I want this question is actually addressed.
May I have the floor?
I will, if I have, I'll call you if there's a question, but this is really addressed to.
I didn't interrupt your time.
Ms. Jones? Mr. Morgan?
Yeah.
Certainly. So as I indicated earlier, we had several meetings in the fall of this year, or fall of 2012, in order to receive input. In order to receive input on the name and a number of other items regarding the school, but certainly in terms of significant regard to the legacy. And in terms of having that process, we met individually with Walker alumni, individually with Landry alumni, joint meetings with Landry and Walker alumni.
That's not true.
I really want the opportunity to hear from the CEO. Yeah.
To the extent that we received feedback from those meetings, what came to us was certainly what you're recognizing in terms of the legacy of Dr. Lord Beaconsfield Landry, and also the legacy of what's been accomplished at O. Perry Walker over the last 7 years since Katrina.
In terms of student achievement.
In terms of its student achievement, in terms of its athletic achievement,
Right.
in terms of its community engagement, in terms of its strong leadership, in terms of the commitment of its educators, its families. As a result, we came to the conclusion that the school would benefit from a name that represented both of those legacies. As a result, that led us to the name, the official name being Dr. Lord Beaconsfield Landry, Oliver Perry Walker College and Career Preparatory High School.
Audience, hold on.
We have also
That's him,
attempted
not the board. Not this.
to identify ways that we can enhance, amplify, and celebrate that legacy of Dr. Lord Beaconsfield Landry. Hence, our strong emphasis on the reference to the facility as the L.B. Landry Educational Complex, Our emphasis of this complex is not just a school, but there are multiple programs being housed in the complex, including the Suno Satellite Campus, which is coming out of a direct result of the fact that this unification is moving forward. And similarly, strong interest in the legacy to help us identify ways that we can amplify that even further, such as perhaps statues, scholarships, other items along those lines. And so we remain open to those ideas, but the initial name behind the school came out of listening and conversation with representatives from both schools.
And to the question about the material amendment, can you speak a bit to your plans for that?
Yes, we do seek to present a material amendment to change the name to Dr. It's a long name. Dr. Lord Beaconsfield Landry, Oliver Perry Walker. College and Career Preparatory High School. Yes, we do.
Okay. And do you know when you're planning on making that recommendation, when you're bringing that forward to the full board? Will that be at the June meeting?
I've not identified a timeline of when that would occur.
But before the beginning of school?
But they ain't gonna do it.
I've not identified a timeline when that'll occur.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think that's a good note for the board. I think one decision that we as a board are going to be faced with is that coming forward to us in terms of the formal name of the actual school.
And the number too.
We
Because there ought to
will
be a
have
new
to
number.
be responsible for as board members. Thank you. There may be other questions for other board members before we go.
That's a parent.
Sir, you're gonna have to fill out a card if you want to speak.
Filled it out. Take some money.
No, excuse me, sir. What's your name?
Parents. This kid's here.
We'll get your card.
This guy.
We'll get your card. We'll call your name.
This guy here, I'm moving my kids to Jefferson Parish. My kids go to LB Landry now. This guy been contacting me for 3 weeks. He don't know what's going on with these schools. I know personally from my kids going to the school and me affiliating with these kids on a daily basis. The kids are ready to quit the football team and everything because they're not being treated fairly. They say the coach is telling them, you can't wear your Landry stuff to practice, but yet the Walker kids continue to wear their old pair of Walker shoes. This guy, I have his number in my phone right now. He just called me earlier today to set up a meeting. You're not, you don't know what's going on. You're telling them you know what's going on when you don't know what's going on unless you call me.
But we talked.
Sir,
I'm going tomorrow. I told you I was going to do that.
Sterling Adams.
Sterling Adams.
If from listening to the lies he's telling y'all, I'm moving my kids to Jefferson Parish before I put up with this.
Where's the lie you heard
This is
tonight?
crap. You sitting up there telling them you know what's going on. You
Mr.
don't know.
Mr. Morgan.
You don't know what's going on, Mr. Morgan.
Sit down.
You don't know what's going on.
We talked 3 hours ago. We're going to set up a meeting, and then you're going to come out and call me a liar.
What's going on?
I didn't even think I knew what was going on. But I said, here's the things that we have done.
Y'all can hear me? Okay, my name is Shelley. My name is Shelley Pike.
Sorry, ma'am. No, the man behind you.
That man straight sat here and lied to y'all. He told you that everything was going on, that these students went and they went on field trips together. They never went on field trips together. They never did nothing. The children come to Walker, the teachers come to Walker. I mean, from Walker to LB Landry. They be rude. They're very rude. They're disrespectful for the whole college, the whole time these children was out there practicing. I feel like this here.
You might want to go follow.
Y'all do not stay in our community. Y'all do not know what's going on. If y'all merge these two schools, I'm going to tell you, we're going to regret it. Y'all going to have more blood on y'all head. I'm just going to be blunt with you. I'm not cutting no corners. I don't have to speak these big old words to y'all. Y'all are going to regret it. These children are going to be at each other's heads broken. They're going to have killings. They're going to have fighting. I'm letting you know. And my child is going to attend Landry next year. But this merge, y'all definitely need to stop. Y'all need to listen to this community. Because like Coach Skip and them saying, and everybody else, faculty, the students, I feel like this here, beginning of the school year, my child would be standing out there with a poster if that's what have to happen. Y'all want to continue this merge, these children will not go to school. I'm letting y'all know up front, they will not go to school. Because I'm telling you, you're about to start something really bad if you merge these two schools together. Miss Jones, you the one, I'm letting you know. And this coming from my heart. I swear, this is like bringing a lot of parents into tears.
because it is merged. Y'all just don't know. And we love Landry. My daughter then graduated from it. So I love Landry. She have a 4.0. So to say that the teachers is not teaching them certain ones, honestly, certain ones are not. But she really did get her education. She have a 4.0. Okay? All A's. My son Reggie, he have good grades. But when y'all put them schools together, all of them children gonna be failing. You think, what you saying? Because Walker charter school right now, it doesn't matter about them being a charter school. But when y'all merge them two schools together, every child in there is gonna fail. Because all they're gonna think about is that I cannot go to school this way. Because this, and then on top of that, they have games. And certain gang members, and I'm just gonna say it to you, he done called out the names already. You know, that's what's gonna happen. Y'all gonna regret it. That's all I'm gonna say. You're gonna regret it. They put them together.
Thank you. Gentry Allen.
I'm trying to go real fast because I know I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to address several issues. Ms. Hill, I would like for you to listen to this one. It's amazing how people who do not live in Orleans Parish can send their children to schools like Benjamin Franklin, and they don't live in New Orleans. But I can't take my child and put my child into Chalmette School or St. Bernard Parish School or LaPlace or wherever. There are children coming from all over going to Benjamin Franklin, but our kids are having trouble getting into schools like that. And the reason why we're having these issues over these schools is because we only have 2 high schools in the city. We have one high school on the East Bank, that's a new school. We have one school on the West Bank. The rest of our children have been in trailers since 2005. Wow. Why? But we have at least 10 elementary middle schools. That needs to stop. Why? Because some of the elementary school students in this city are going to school with middle school students, and we have an element in this city that I told you about earlier, which we have this clique gang / problem in this city, and that needs to end like last year. Because we don't need our elementary school children on the bus and attending schools with these middle school students. That is a criminal practice that needs to stop immediately. You need to stop that. You need to. A kindergarten student does not need to be in an environment where middle school, 8th grade students are at all. Why? Because they're learning behaviors that they should not be learning. They shouldn't be exposed to those behaviors at that age. And if you had a person with an educational background, that's why we have elementary schools and we have middle schools and junior high schools. You need to stop that. But we have 10 of those, but we only have one high school on the East Bank, we only have one high school on the West Bank, and people are fighting over that. And why is that? With all of the money that we say that we have children going to school at John McDonald with asbestos, termites, lead pipes, lead paint. We have children in Carver and trailers with holes in the floor and rats running around. You know, I don't understand this. If y'all are a board, and y'all board is a board that's supposed to oversee, yes sir, that's supposed to oversee what's going on in this city, no question marks go off when you see this going on? Just ride through the city. You don't have to go to visit the school. Just look at the conditions in the city. But something is going on. We have a puppet master that's pulling the strings, and then you say you're listening to the community, and how can you fix that? You can fix that by truly engaging the community and stop the puppet. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Nathan.
Good evening. First, we'd like to thank you all for meeting with us, with our community, and we'd like to continue. I just want to make sure we can hear you.
Hey, you sitting around here sitting up on that podium like you're important. You need to go to that bathroom and check it out. I don't know no white child that goes to a school that looks like this. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Their white kids don't go to
the Bluebird finance your campaign. You should have rebuilt your campaign. That's what should have happened.
Please allow the speaker to speak. All right. Thank you. Go ahead. Ms. Scott.
Okay, good evening. We're Nathan and Benita Scott. Thank you all for meeting with our community again. And our son is 3rd generation Landry student. My mother, who's 86 years old, graduated from Landry in the 40s, and then she sent her children, and now we're sending our children. But you struck a chord, well, the conversation that occurred, something struck a chord with me. It was mentioned or inferred that maybe you guys were not getting complete information. And I've heard talk about different meetings, but there's one meeting that I'd like to tell you about that you may or may not know about. I met with Mr. Morgan, Mr. Adrian Morgan. And I met with him because as parents, we were absolutely livid at the fact that we found out that our children from Landry were being taken off of Landry's campus to do other things, maybe at other schools or whatever, without parental permission. Wow. I know that there one time, and this was out after school, but nonetheless, he was meeting with the school officials, and I was told that they were going to be in one place on the West Bank, and I called him because we had another place to go, and they were way across the river. No one told me that they were taking my son across the river. I've been told that Landry band students have been taken off campus without parental permission to go play at funerals, you know, and other activities. And I was absolutely livid. It just totally just unnerves me to think that someone would think that we don't care about our kids. It's okay. These little black children, nobody cares about them. We could do what we want to. Well, you know, that isn't true. This is a mother and a father sitting here, hardworking parents who are who are very involved with the children. Okay, this is the conversation. I told Mr. Morgan that I was going to file a child endangerment lawsuit against RSD and any and everybody else who was associated with my child being taken off that campus without my permission. Also, I felt that they were setting our children up for failure in that they were busing, and I don't know who, but Walker students were being bused over to the Landry campus. For what reason, I don't know. But I've shown up 3 times at the school to pick up my son from school, and Walker kids and Walker staff were just standing around in the lobby. Just standing around in the lobby. You know, and I'm wondering, what is that all about? Are they setting our children up so that they'll have some sort of confrontation? And then I talked with someone in the community, and there was a meeting, the Nantucket Club, the Jugs Club had a meeting, and someone, representative of RSD, came to the meeting and spoke to him and told him it was a done deal. This is a done deal. And this is the word that they're putting out in the community, that it is a done deal. You know, there's going to be a merger. And as a person that's always going to meetings and very involved in our child's education, I'm wondering, what did I miss? I've been going to the meetings, what did I miss? You know? So it's like our children are being, our children and our community people are being pitted against each other. For what reason, I guess, you know, the money and the power. But just wanted to let you know that you don't know everything. That things are happening in the community, and that band concert that you mentioned, my son went to Atlanta with them. Mr. Adrian Morgan took a picture of the permission slip that was sent home. My son is an LB Landry student. That permission slip came from Old Perry Walker, and it read, "My name is," and then they had to fill out their name. "I am a student at Old Perry Walker," whatever that extension is on their school. "I participate in the Band of Excellence with Old Perry Walker, such and such and such." I raised the roof. And then when we went to the meeting to get them signed up and pay for them to go, that's when they had another permission slip. But if I had not said anything, it would just go on, you know, just the way it is. So you guys really don't know everything. So I encourage you to put the brakes on. Put the brakes on, stop what you're doing, do your homework, and then let's come back to the table.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Roberta McCormick.
It's prepared, so you won't have to stop me. Okay. Walter Cohen, L.B. Landry, Sarah Reed, and Ben Franklin High School students pleaded to the BESE board to address certain issues and fix our unsuccessful educational system. Did BESE address the issues and provide the children in New Orleans a quality and safe education? No. It is impossible when only 2 board members admitted that according to the testimonies they heard at the meetings on November the 14th, 2012 at Sophie B. Wright School, that the RSD charter system is not a model but a failure, and the Attorney General needs to be contacted for an outside investigation. He needs to be contacted for an outside investigation. Note this, oil and water don't mix. Some tribes don't mix. If you go all the way back to Africa, you don't have to go all the way back to Africa to figure that out. Consider that. I'm going all the way back from where we all originated from. If it didn't work during Bible times, as history records, it's not going to work during these times. Different tribes don't mix. What we are trying to do here, we are trying to stop a tribal war. A tribal war is what we're trying to stop. Consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
In reference to your question about how do we solve the problem?
Yes.
Stop being colonialistic. Stop saying to yourself that I know what works and nobody else knows. Be humane, because the people you're dealing with, they're human beings too. And I want to know how many people have looked at Aldridge Technology High School. It did not exist before the storm. Why do you add another high school and now you try to merge Opie Walker and Landry? And I'll give Reverend Casimir the rest of my time.
Thank you.
I'll be brief. Guys, we really could cut through the chase tonight, overall on the Landry and Walker issue. We appreciate you guys, but we need you to do the right thing. We need righteousness on this board. We need people that really care about children, and I believe you do, but we don't want to be strung along any further. We're asking for a vote tonight on the Landry Walker issue. That's what we believe we were coming here for. A vote on whether the BESE board was going to say stop bringing the Walker crew over to Landry School. They go every Tuesday and Thursday. They did it for at least 2 months. I don't even know if you guys were aware of that. 3 months. They've changed the mascot. They have a Charger, a Buccaneer riding a Charger. They've changed the color of the helmets. I don't even see anyone here from, it seems like Walker is a part of this deal that's been done behind the table with someone, because they're not even here fussing for their own school. I graduated from Walker. I am a graduate from Southern University of Baton Rouge, and I was also on the alumni board. I am passionate about what is right, and I believe some of you are. So are we going to get a vote tonight? I need that question answered before I put the mic down. A lot of people came here for that. Will we get a vote up or down on the Landry Walker issue? Adrian Morgan does not have the authority. You have the authority.
A vote on that issue. Mr. Garvin, Terrence Davidson is back here, and he actually is like in charge of the entire Walker crew. They just was able to walk in, and if he'd like to speak to tell you how Walker feels.
That whatever we put on paper would be looked at, and whatever we say will go forward. And we put together a very educational, reasonable proposal. And as we said already, Rosenwald is not a high school. Those kids could have came to Landry to fill the numbers. We know it's not about the numbers. We need to get the politics out of our children's lives and stop the children from being pimped around like pawns. And if you really are about education, we need to add structure. We're not going after structure with these schools. This is a circus. I've never seen anything like this. I am an educated man, and I know everyone up there is educated. This is a circus. You guys have the power to stop this circus. And we're asking you to please use your authority for the right purpose. The kids don't even have books yet. And you know, in the long short shot, our attorney even thought that it would be stopped tonight. We are asking, school is closed now, but there's still activities that's going to go on during the summer. Guys, we really came here, believe it, this would be stop, or you could tell us you're in favor of it stopping, and you're just going to put it in official writing and present it to us.
Could you sit down for a second and let's hear from Ms. Jones. She would like to say.
Number one, Ms. Kira Orange Jones, I heard you, and correct me if I'm wrong, say that you didn't understand, you had only been on the board 2 years and all this, so you didn't know what was going on, right?
Over the last several months, I now know
Okay,
what
but
has happened.
then let me make my point. One of the reasons you may not know what was going on was because before you were elected, you refused to come into a black community.
That is not true. And so I want to make sure, I want to make sure I'm trying to work with you because I actually am sensitive to, but that actually is not true. So
You never went anywhere that I went, and I was sitting in Dilla waiting for you, didn't show up. All right, let's go back. I heard Mr. Dobard when he was talking about how good the RSD and the scores are. I have to go back to that simply because Mr. Dobard, I know my grandma would probably slap me, but I'm gonna call you a liar, and then I'm gonna say you're telling a story. All right? Why do I say that? Because number one, there's some practices going on in the charter schools that are sanctioned by RSD, such as at Greater Gentilly, which the person you said in a meeting, Vera Tricklett, you made her the principal at Landry. She was the CEO at Lake Area. She literally, they changed their students' grades to keep her from being salutatorian. Number two, they allowed them to, they watched sex tapes instead of stopping the children from having sex. Vera Tricklett and her crew sat there and watched till the act was over. Number three, I know what I'm talking about. You talk about how well the charters are doing. Well, you had students right here in Cohen's building because I came and protested with them. They could not use all of the facilities here. That was totally unfair. Number four, you talk about the test scores. Well, I can tell you, and I heard this on WBOK, so it's not me. Figures don't lie, but liars figure. I will leave you with that.
I'm going to be brief, but I actually need to touch on 2 points tonight. The first is that to the members of the BESE board, the O'Hara Walker Alumni Association had reached out to you via writing, via phone, and we talk about being inclusive and making sure that we hear the sentiments of the community, yet the O'Hara Walker community has yet to get an ear, a sit down, a discussion, even a reply to the very emails that were sent to you. Now our whole mindset is that we are one community. Now even though it comes up sometimes and it makes it look like we're fighting each other, at the end of the day we all care about our children, and in particular the children of LGs. And so our mindset is that you're going to not just listen to a part or a segment, but when you start making decisions about LGs, you better come listen to the whole, because we all vote. We all vote. We all pay taxes. And so we have yet to see any of you at the table with the O'Hara Walker contingency. And we got a lot of us. So I make sure that point is very clear before we leave tonight, that you better make your way to see the O'Hara Walker folk before you start talking about making decisions, because we got some things that we need to say to you also. Next thing I need to say to my good family members all across this room, please stop coming out here making our children sound like they're savages. The children at Landry and Walker, most of them are actually family members. So let's not come to the table talking about it's going to be tribal warfare, they're going to kill each other. That's not true. Ain't nobody killing each other. The children know each other, they're friends. So if you're talking about stopping this, we're not going to stop this because of what children are going to do to each other. That's just untrue. That is blatant lies. I sat back and I listened to folks come up here and blatantly, I'm wrapping up, blatantly lie and make our children out to sound like they are savages. We're brilliant children who will acquiesce and do exactly what they're supposed to do. We need to see you best enough.
I have a question.
We had questions.
I have a question for you.
Yes, Ms. Murphy.
You can get Ms. Hill first.
Ms. Hill.
Okay, I remember you at the community meeting.
Yes, you do.
And one of your major concerns that you said that give us our money and we won't have to go into Landry. And I remember you saying that RSD owed you a significant amount of funding, millions of dollars, and you said if they give...
I didn't say RSD, I said you.
Okay, well, BESE, me, whoever. The bottom line is...
Because you know why I say that?
No, listen to me. My question to you is...
Because my folks here who have the good relationship with our BESE representative who never meets with the Walker folks, who has a relationship with them, always have told me that our good BESE representative had the key and the answer to get what we needed.
Okay, so I guess that was my question for you, because I remember you at the town hall meeting, and that was one of your concerns. You said we will have to go through this process as far as the merger is concerned if we give you your money to do what you need to do for Old Perry Walker, and that Old Perry Walker was the B school. So I just wanted to make sure I got that clarity, because that was your concern for Old Perry Walker. And if we give you what you need, you feel that there's no need for the merger to take place, correct?
Do you have it?
I'm just answer my question, correct?
If you have it.
Okay, that's all.
I don't want to do it on hypothetical. If you don't have it, then let's go ahead and do what we need to do to make right for children.
That's all I want you to say.
Yeah. I need money.
Okay, Ms. Murphy.
For the children.
Me too. So you said that there are certain concerns that you have. Could you list those for us, or talk to us about the concerns of your alumni group? And is it correct, it's an alumni group?
Well, we're an alumni group, alumni organization,
Okay.
contingency of alumni.
You also work on the staff,
Yes, and I'm also a parent
and you're a parent.
of a student at Old Perry Walker.
Okay, so can you talk to us about concerns you might have about the merger?
Well, my only concern about the merger is the fact that you guys are 75 days out still having a discussion about it. That's my only concern, is that if something was going to be done to curtail this, that you guys had the power to do this months and months ago. Now we're 75 days out from the start of a new school year, and you still talking about what we might do, and it sounds like you still haven't decided. So my concern is the fact that we're 75 days away from the start of a new school year, and you still have not made decisions on what's going to happen.
I have a
Are there other issues?
That's it. That's my only issue, is that at this particular point, you know what? School starts in 75 days. Hey, the train has already left the station. It's moving full speed ahead. And the fact that if you'd have stopped the train when it was still at the station, then, hey, we might be at a different position right now. But at this particular point, hey, the train is moving fast ahead. And at this point, if you stop it, it's probably going to derail, and then we're going to have casualties.
So I have a follow-up to that, and we said this before, I don't know if you were here, and you know that a lot of the train existed far beyond this board, and so we're coming late, making sure that we're doing due diligence. My question to you is about how is the merger going from your perspective? You're saying we're 75 days into this, so talking about ending it is detrimental. I want to know from your perspective, what is actually happening in the building?
From my perspective, the children are getting along great. I'm not lying. I see them every day. I'm standing there with them every day. And at the end of the day, children are the problem. The problem is the fact that we as grown folk have sentiments that we feel about our alma maters that really, because they're personal to us and we're passionate about them, that we don't want that to be impacted. But I don't ever want folks to come in here and say that children are clashing with each other and children are at war with each other, because that part is not true. They are, baby. They are.
We have a question, objection, members.
I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
I have one more question
Yes,
for
ma'am.
you. And I know you respect this because I think, as you said, Algiers is one community. I'm sure every adult in this room who's from Algiers cares dearly about the children of Landry and the children of Walker.
Definitely.
They care about all the children,
Definitely.
and that's the impression I've always gotten. What do you think about the preserving the legacy of a school that has existed for a long time in the community, that obviously there's sentiments in this room for how to preserve that? What are your thoughts about that?
My thoughts are this. My mother was Miss L.B. Landry in 1960. And so every night, every day that I deal with this from the perspective of what my mother be pleased with what I'm doing. And so with that mindset, just as we want to preserve the legacy of the great man, Dr. Lloyd Beaconsfield Landry, over the last 40 some odd years, there's been a great legacy of achievement of students and alumni of Old Prairie Walker, and that achievement and that legacy must also be preserved.
Thank you guys for coming. But first of all, common courtesy. You don't go into someone else's house and take over. I cannot go into your house and decide to change the drapes. I can go into his house and decide to change the hardwood floors. It's his house. If I come into your house, then you have the authority to tell me this is what you will allow me to do. And if I want to stay in your house, I must acquiesce to you. You have the power because it is your house. Now, Mr. Dobar, when he was speaking earlier, you noticed that there was some applause coming from the peanut gallery over here. Those people are RSD employees. They are paid to clap. And that's why they are here. The reason why they are here, the reason why they are here is because he cannot get the parents of the RSD school to come here and applaud what he says because they disagree with him. He has no parents. The people that he's claiming he's representing, none of them are here to represent them. Only the people that are paid. Whereas the people from Landry and the community, we are here full force and we are not being paid. There's no monetary gain for us. The only thing that we have going for us is love for our school and love for our children, just like we have love for our country. We are patriots. We love our country, we love our school, and we're here 8:45 tonight, not being paid, hungry, wish we could be home with our family. But we're here because we love our school. But no one is here for it. Thank you very much.
Everyone